What if I told you the man behind America's most famous fashion brand owns a Colorado ranch bigger than Manhattan, where he lives out the cowboy dream for real? Ralph Lauren's Double RL Ranch isn't just a billionaire's hideaway. It's a living, working piece of the Old West, and what happens here will change how you see American style forever. In 1986, Ralph Lauren wasn't looking to buy a ranch. The fashion mogul was driving through the Colorado Rockies when he discovered the Double RL Ranch near Ridgway. 16,000 acres of pristine wilderness that would change his life forever. This wasn't some midlife crisis or rich man's whim. Lauren had been obsessed with the American West since he was a kid growing up in the Bronx, collecting vintage cowboy gear and dreaming of wide-open spaces. His entire fashion empire had been built on selling that Western dream to the world. Now he had the chance to live it for real. The sellers thought they were dealing with another city slicker who'd get bored and sell within a year. Local ranchers were skeptical about the fashion designer who was serious about ranching, but Lauren saw something they didn't: a chance to create an authentic Western experience where every detail would be perfect and traditional American values would be preserved. What happened next would create one of the most authentic ranch operations in America and profoundly influence how the world sees Western style. The obsession that started in the Bronx. Long before Ralph Lauren owned a single acre of ranch land, he was already living the Western dream in his imagination. Growing up as Ralph Lifshitz in a cramped Bronx apartment, he spent hours studying Western movies and magazines, collecting vintage cowboy gear that most kids his age had never seen. While other boys were playing stickball in the streets, Lauren was dreaming of cattle drives and campfires under endless Western skies. His transformation from Bronx kid to fashion mogul started with borrowed money to launch Polo Ralph Lauren in 1967. The company began in a single drawer in a showroom, with Lauren designing wide neckties that challenged the narrow styles popular at the time. His vision was always bigger than just clothing. He was selling a lifestyle, an aspiration to live with style and authenticity. When he started his fashion company, that Western obsession became the foundation of his brand. The Polo Ralph Lauren look wasn't just about clothes. It was about selling a lifestyle, a dream of American authenticity that resonated with people around the world. By 1986, he was generating hundreds of millions in revenue selling that Western dream. Now, he was about to make it real. The ranch that became his true home. The Double RL Ranch covers 16,000 acres of some of the most spectacular scenery in Colorado, with the San Juan Mountains providing a dramatic backdrop to rolling meadows and pristine streams. Located near the town of Ridgway, the ranch sits at an elevation of over 7,000 feet, where the air is thin and the views stretch for miles across high mountain valleys. Lauren threw himself into learning the cattle business with the same intensity he'd brought to fashion. He hired experienced ranch managers, brought in experts from across the West, and started asking questions that showed he was serious about making this a genuine working operation. The transformation of both the land and Lauren himself became legendary in Colorado ranching circles. The ranch buildings reflect Lauren's designer eye for authentic detail, but they're not just for show. They're functional structures that support real ranch operations. Every building looks like it's been there for generations, constructed with reclaimed materials and traditional techniques that honor the property's Western heritage while providing modern functionality. The main lodge features massive stone fireplaces, hand-hewn timber beams, and furnishings that blend rustic authenticity with sophisticated comfort. The cattle operation that honors tradition. At the heart of Lauren's ranch empire is a working cattle operation that runs premium Black Angus herds across thousands of acres of Colorado rangeland. This isn't a hobby ranch. It's a serious agricultural operation that follows time-honored practices used by Western ranchers for generations. The herds graze on native grasses, following rotational patterns that improve the health of the rangeland while producing high-quality beef. The cattle operation reflects Lauren's commitment to doing things the right way, regardless of cost. The ranch maintains its own breeding program, carefully selecting genetics that produce cattle perfectly adapted to the high-altitude Colorado environment. The animals are handled with care that reflects both practical ranching wisdom and Lauren's belief that quality comes from attention to every detail. The cowboys who work the ranch are experienced professionals who understand both cattle and the land in ways that can't be taught in any school. They represent a tradition of horsemanship and stockmanship that goes back generations, and Lauren has made sure that these skills are preserved and practiced on his property. The operation produces high-quality beef that reflects the care and attention to detail that goes into every aspect of ranch life. The authentic Western experience. What truly sets Lauren's ranch apart is its commitment to authenticity in every detail. This isn't a Hollywood version of ranch life, it's the real thing where traditional skills and values are practiced daily by people who understand their importance. The ranch employs skilled craftsmen who create authentic Western gear using traditional methods and materials that have been used for generations. Lauren has invested heavily in preserving traditional Western crafts, employing artisans who understand the old ways of making saddles, bridles, and other ranch equipment. These craftsmen work with the finest materials, top-grade leather, hand-forged hardware, and traditional tools that produce results that mass production can never match. The attention to detail reflects Lauren's belief that quality and authenticity are worth preserving. The ranch also maintains an extensive collection of vintage Western artifacts and equipment that tells the story of American frontier life. From antique saddles to historic ranch tools, these items serve both as inspiration for modern craftsmen and as reminders of the skills and values that built the American West. Lauren has spent decades collecting these pieces, and they represent one of the finest private collections of Western Americana in existence. The fashion empire inspired by real ranch life. Lauren's ranch experiences have profoundly influenced his fashion designs, bringing authentic Western elements into mainstream American style in ways that have shaped how Americans dress for decades. The Double RL clothing line takes its name from the Colorado Ranch and features designs inspired by vintage Western wear and the real working clothes worn by ranch hands. The Double RL brand represents Lauren's most authentic expression of Western style, featuring clothing that's made with the same attention to detail and quality that characterizes everything at the ranch. The designs are based on vintage pieces from Lauren's extensive collection, but they're updated for modern wear while maintaining the authentic spirit of the originals. Lauren and his design team spend time at the ranch working alongside cowboys and craftsmen to understand what makes Western wear both practical and beautiful. They study how clothing performs under real working conditions, learning what details matter and what's just for show. It's this commitment to authenticity that has made Ralph Lauren synonymous with American style around the world, and the ranch continues to inspire new collections that celebrate the best of American design and craftsmanship. The preservation of American craftsmanship. One of Lauren's most significant contributions has been his role in preserving traditional American craftsmanship that was in danger of disappearing. The ranch serves as a center for maintaining skills and techniques that have been passed down through generations of Western artisans, but were being lost as mass production replaced handmade goods. The leather workers at the ranch create pieces using techniques that date back to the frontier era, when every piece of gear had to be made by hand and built to last. They work with Herman oak leather, the finest available, and use traditional tools and methods that produce results superior to anything made by machine. Each piece is unique, reflecting the skill and artistry of its maker. The ranch also maintains traditional blacksmithing operations, where skilled craftsmen create everything from horseshoes to decorative ironwork, using forge techniques that most people thought had died out decades ago. These artisans work with coal forges and hand tools, shaping metal the way their predecessors did over a century ago. The results are both functional and beautiful, representing a level of craftsmanship that's increasingly rare in the modern world, the horse program that preserves bloodlines. Lauren's commitment to authenticity extends to his horse program, which focuses on preserving and improving the quarter-horse bloodlines that built the American West. The ranch maintains a breeding program that emphasizes horses with the intelligence, athleticism, and cow sense that make quarter horses the preferred mount of working cowboys. The horses at Double RL aren't just pretty animals. They're working horses bred and trained for the demands of ranch life. They can cut cattle, work in rough country, and handle the daily tasks that are essential to running a successful ranch operation. The breeding program focuses on bloodlines that trace back to foundation sires, whose names are legendary among serious horsemen. Lauren's horses regularly demonstrate their quality in cutting competitions and ranch horse events, proving that his investment in traditional bloodlines and expert training produces results that can't be bought, only earned through years of careful breeding and development. The program represents a commitment to preserving the genetic heritage that made American quarter horses the finest working horses in the world. The conservation success story, Lauren's stewardship of the Double RL Ranch, has created a model for how private landowners can be powerful forces for conservation while maintaining working agricultural operations. The 16,000-acre property supports healthy populations of elk, deer, black bears, and mountain lions that benefit from careful land management practices employed throughout the ranch. The ranch demonstrates that good ranching practices don't just sustain the land, they can actually improve it for future generations. Through careful grazing management and attention to natural systems, the property maintains the ecological balance that supports both livestock and wildlife in sustainable harmony. The native grasslands have been restored and improved, creating habitat that benefits both domestic animals and wildlife. Water quality and habitat have been maintained and improved through Lauren's commitment to responsible land stewardship. The ranch includes several miles of streams and numerous ponds that provide water for both livestock and wildlife. These water sources are carefully managed to ensure that they remain clean and productive, supporting fish populations and providing habitat for waterfowl and other wildlife. The economic impact on rural Colorado. Lauren's ranch operation provides employment for local cowboys, ranch hands, and support staff, contributing to the economy of rural Colorado in ways that help sustain traditional Western communities. The ranch employs dozens of people year-round, from experienced cowboys to maintenance workers, providing good-paying jobs in an area where such opportunities are often limited. The property also pays significant property taxes that support local schools and government services in an area where such revenue is crucial for maintaining rural infrastructure and services. In rural Colorado counties, large ranch properties like Lauren's provide a substantial portion of the tax base that funds essential services for the entire community. The ranch purchases supplies and services from local businesses, creating economic activity that benefits the entire region. Everything from feed and fuel to equipment and veterinary services is sourced locally whenever possible, generating millions of dollars in economic activity that ripples through rural communities. This commitment to buying locally helps sustain businesses that might otherwise struggle in remote rural areas. The influence on American culture. Lauren's RRL Ranch has had an impact on American culture that extends far beyond fashion or ranching. It represents a commitment to authenticity and quality that has influenced how Americans think about craftsmanship, tradition, and the value of preserving cultural heritage in an age of mass production and globalization. The ranch serves as a living example of how traditional American values, hard work, attention to detail, respect for the land, and commitment to quality, can thrive in the modern world when supported by vision and resources. It's a reminder that the best of America's past doesn't have to be lost to progress, but can be preserved and celebrated while remaining relevant to contemporary life. Through his ranch operations and the fashion empire they inspire, Lauren has helped keep Western culture alive and relevant for new generations of Americans who might otherwise have lost touch with these important traditions. The ranch stands as proof that authenticity and commercial success can go hand in hand when guided by genuine respect for tradition and commitment to excellence. The vintage collection that tells America's story. Lauren's passion for authentic Americana has led him to assemble one of the finest private collections of vintage Western artifacts and memorabilia in existence. The collection includes everything from antique saddles and spurs to Native American artifacts that represent centuries of American craftsmanship and cultural heritage. Each piece in the collection tells a story about American ingenuity and the people who built this country with their hands and their dreams. Lauren has spent decades acquiring these items, often paying premium prices to ensure that important pieces of American history are preserved rather than lost or destroyed. The collection serves both as inspiration for his design work and as a repository of knowledge about traditional American crafts. The vintage pieces are studied by the craftsmen who work at the ranch, providing them with authentic examples of how things were made in the past. This connection between past and present ensures that traditional techniques are preserved accurately rather than being diluted or corrupted over time. It's a living museum that keeps American history alive and accessible to new generations. The architectural achievement. The buildings at RRL Ranch represent a masterpiece of authentic Western architecture, combining traditional design elements with modern functionality in ways that honor the past while serving contemporary needs. Lauren worked with skilled craftsmen and architects who understood both historical accuracy and practical requirements to create structures that look like they've been there for generations. The main lodge and other buildings feature hand-hewn timber construction, stonework, and other details that reflect traditional Western building techniques. The materials are authentic, reclaimed barnwood, native stone, and hand-forged hardware that's made on-site using traditional blacksmithing methods. Every detail has been carefully considered to ensure authenticity while providing modern comfort and functionality. The architectural achievement extends beyond just the buildings themselves to include the overall layout and design of the ranch complex. The buildings are positioned to take advantage of natural features like views and water sources, while also serving the practical needs of a working ranch operation. It's a perfect blend of form and function that reflects Lauren's commitment to doing things right, regardless of cost or complexity. The seasonal rhythms of ranch life. Life at the RRL Ranch follows the seasonal rhythms that have governed ranch operations for generations, with each season bringing its own challenges and rewards. Spring brings calving season, when the ranch's cowboys work around the clock to ensure that newborn calves and their mothers are healthy and safe. It's a time of renewal and hope, when the success of the year's breeding program becomes evident. Summer is the time for moving cattle to high mountain pastures, where they graze on native grasses that have been growing since the snow melted. The cowboys spend long days in the saddle, moving herds across vast landscapes and checking on their condition. It's hard work that requires skill, endurance, and a deep understanding of both cattle and the land they graze. Fall brings roundup time, when cattle are gathered from summer pastures and sorted for shipping or breeding. It's the culmination of the year's work, when the success of the operation is measured in the quality and condition of the cattle. Winter is a time of preparation and maintenance, when equipment is repaired, buildings are maintained, and plans are made for the coming year. The ranch that redefined success. Today, Ralph Lauren's Double RL Ranch stands as proof that success can be measured in more than just financial terms. While the ranch certainly contributes to Lauren's business empire, its real value lies in what it represents: a commitment to authenticity, quality, and the preservation of American cultural heritage that transcends mere commercial success. The ranch has become legendary not just for its beauty or its connection to a famous fashion designer, but for its role in keeping Western traditions alive and relevant in the modern world. It's a working ranch that honors the past while embracing the present, creating something that's both timeless and contemporary, both practical and inspirational. From a kid from the Bronx who dreamed of cowboys and the American West, Lauren has created something that celebrates everything that makes America special: independence, authenticity, quality, and a deep respect for the land and the people who work it. The Double RL Ranch proves that with vision, determination, and respect for tradition, the American dream is still alive and well for those who pursue it authentically. Ralph Lauren's Double RL Ranch proves that the American dream is still alive for those with the vision to pursue it authentically. From a Bronx childhood dream to 16,000 acres of working Colorado ranch land, this operation shows us that success and authenticity can go hand in hand when guided by respect for tradition and commitment to excellence. If you want to see more incredible stories about America's most authentic ranch operations, make sure to subscribe, because what I'm about to show you next will demonstrate how traditional values can create modern success.